National Rescue Consultants presents Train to Live podcast with Herb Tyler, Greg Rogers, and Rob Ramirez. Talking all things fire and technical rescue. So pour a drink and enjoy the show.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on, boys?
What's up?
How's it going, boys? Haven't seen you guys in a while.
Well, Herb, I just saw you a few days ago.
Yeah, you're right. I was talking about Rob.
Oh, I haven't seen Rob either in a while. I miss Rob's smiling face and beautiful hair.
Look what I'm working with tonight, boys. This is serious.
That hair is on point tonight, my friend. I'll drink to that hair. I'm going to drink to that hair real quick.
And I'll join you. God-given. Put zero effort into it.
It's hard to be that beautiful, Rob.
Well,
it's a gift and a curse.
Tonight we got some special guests in the house. It's I just had the pleasure of meeting one of the co-founders of Bears of the Oath when they came down to the Advanced Rescue and Survival School. Definitely one of the guys who he's just like us, man. Shane Bentley Lee Humphrys, Corey Thompson. Those guys are cut from the exact same cloth that we are, man. They eat, live, and sleep this stuff. So looking forward to what tonight brings, what shenanigans happen. So it's going to be fun.
Should we, normally it's PG-13, should we make it R for tonight? Since these warriors are coming on.
It might be NC-17.
Remember that? I love that.
Bro, showing his age.
Hey, that's old school right there. When we go to Blockbuster, see the little NC-17 box, you know it's on then.
Hey, so hopefully we're going to talk about some of the survival in the RIT because I thought you killed it, Rob. I definitely want to go into that. And the Shane Bentley, Corey Thompson, even Redbird. I mean, just absolute warriors, man, coming in and like jumping into the rhythm and then just going to work and adding their little pieces. So it was good stuff, man. Hopefully we can get into that. It was good stuff.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking about it. It was a great week up at Fort Pierce, and the guys that came down from Georgia, even Pablo down from Marion County. We had a blast. The students were amazing. You kicked ass. Herbie kicked ass. It was a fun event. Probably top 3 most enjoyable, rewarding events I've done ever teaching. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. Let's get on with the show. I want to introduce these warriors.
Hey, well, before we start, let's start with a nice toast. 3 of us.
All right, you want me to do it?
You lead it, buddy.
All right, since these guys are warriors here, I'm gonna pull a little military style toast. It's about being a warrior. It doesn't matter about the cause necessarily. This is your path, and you will pursue it with excellence. You face your fear because your goal demands it. This is the goddamn warrior spirit, and I bring that with those guys. Drink up, fellas.
Salud.
That was all week, too, in that advanced survival and RIT. That warriors, man. Absolute warriors.
So we got 2 special guests on tonight. We got Shane Bentley and Lee Humphrys, 2 of the co-founders of Bearers of the Oath. So without further ado, I'm going to let Rob introduce them, and then we'll get moving.
So Herb touched on it earlier. We are all, cut from the same cloth, branches from the old same tree, and these guys we hit it off right away when we met these guys. Bearers of the Oath is a stand-up training organization. I call them a training tribe. They're a posse of badass dudes that get it, and every minute around it was enjoyable. I had the pleasure of going up to Georgia last year and meeting these guys officially. We knew each other, like a lot of us do, via social media, via podcasts, via knowing of each other through other avenues and venues. And I got to go up there and work with them and meet them and break bread with them and raise a glass. And these guys are stand-up dudes. And I knew that some way, somehow, I had to bring them down. And I talked to Herb about it. We spoke, and Greg, all of us got together and said, these are the guys we want to work with down here and do something together, some type of collaboration. And they've become part of our family now, and I'm excited to have them on the show. Both of them are straight up badass firemen and good dudes. Shane Bentley, one of the most passionate guys I've ever been around. He's currently serving as the assistant fire chief at Cornelia Fire Department in Northeast Georgia. He has over 16 years in the fire service, and his passion for training, mentoring, and inspiring others is second to none. As the founding members of the Bearers of the Oath, Shane simply wants to lead the fire service better than he found it. We're going to move on to Mr. Hump. Little Humpy over here, Lee Humphrys, another badass dude who I got the pleasure of meeting when I went up to Georgia last year to do that gig with them up there. And we had a bunch of solid firemen go through, again, a full couple of days of firemanship, RIT, survival, engine company, truck company. These guys got it all. And again, second to none hospitality and training. If anybody has the chance to go up to the Georgia area and work with the Bearers of the Oath, please jump on that opportunity and let me know how you felt about it afterwards, because I promise you, you will not be disappointed. These guys are awesome. Humpy, the firefighter 2, with the city of Gainesville, Georgia. Not to be confused with the city of Gainesville in Florida, a suburb of Metro Atlanta located at the foothills of the Northeast Georgia mountains. Currently assigned to Fire Station 22, which houses an engine company, and a truck company, and a squad. With 15 years in the fire service, Humpy has worked as a fire instructor, a live fire instructor for the Georgia Fire Academy for about 5 years now. As one of the founding members and lead instructors of Bearers of the Oath, Humpy loves to go into jobs, as we do, all, throwing ladders, like Pablo, and occasionally rubbing the leg of his partner. And I'm hoping his partner, whose leg he's rubbing, is probably Corey or Shane, but we'll let them talk about that when they come on. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Guys, thank you guys for having us.
What's up, fellas?
Fire pimps are blacked out.
That's it. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
It keeps it exciting when you can't see their face for a while. The suspense.
Are you guys sitting in the dark?
There they are.
There you are.
Yeah.
And dormant on us, so.
Are you guys in your hunting blind right now doing this?
How's that?
Perfect.
What's up there, boys?
Man, that's terrible. That's all. Can you
We'll-
guys hear us?
We'll make it happen. Yeah, I can hear you.
Shit, man. Disconnect that Wi-Fi.
All right, just hey, to give the audience a peek behind the curtain, this is what we've been dealing with for the last 30 minutes. Hey, can you guys hear Shane?
You what?
Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, right on. You guys are frozen right now.
Hey,
You on it, Herb?
yeah, I'm on it. Lane, he just gave us a little shout out on Facebook. He's from South Carolina. Greg, myself, Timmy Gleason, and Richard Shirk had the opportunity to be up there and do structural collapse with him.
It keeps going back to the one at the house.
Hey, maybe we can call Tom out in Colorado and he can help you out with his Wi-Fi.
Well, Dan Jodwin just sent a little text over on Facebook and said they borrowed Tom's Wi-Fi.
Who's Tom?
The guy, remember Fit for Fight Fire?
Oh, Tom Johnson. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm like, what Tom are we talking about?
We had a 3-hour show. We saw his face for about 12 minutes.
Yeah, we put in some work that night.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. He got his story across though.
Yeah, he did. Tom's awesome. All those guys are awesome.
Hey, while
Danny
we're
Erickson?
waiting on them,
Mm-hmm.
you guys catch that Bucks game, by the way? That's right, boys. Going to the Super Bowl. Cigar
Brady is
City
the man.
Pool boys were all texting me, so just want to let you know that.
Another stand-up organization. Congratulations to you and your Bucks.
Thank you, sir. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Well,
We got Danny Erickson chiming in. Danny Erickson talking to us from City of Hartford, I believe 5 Truck. And he is asking if these boys are paying their Wi-Fi by the minute. I saw Basil in there earlier. I saw Nick, who just became a battalion chief up in Marion County. Congratulations to you, Chief.
Yeah, congratulations.
And here we go.
Chief.
Comes to Wi-Fi jokes.
Now we can hear all the Wi-Fi jokes. That's great.
Right on. There we go.
Well, you must be on 3G because you're only getting audio. We're not getting video, so it's all good.
Well,
I was gonna put in for that Marion County gig, but I knew I wouldn't have got it.
Not if Jordan has something to do with it.
Even though there was 80 openings and 70 people showed up, I probably still wouldn't have got it.
Oh, hey, look at our boy Redbird right there. Shane's Wi-Fi, sponsored by Dial-Up.
Hey, Redbird Media. Let's talk about Redbird Media and give Redbird a good old shout out here.
Yeah, let's talk about
you want to? Hey, so if anyone's had the opportunity to work with Danny Purcell, aka Redbird, he is absolutely the most high-speed, high-energy, high-quality professional fire ground photographer that I've been around in my time in training. If you see any of the pictures up on our NRC websites, whether it's on Instagram or any of our social platforms, or you follow any of us directly, a lot of the pictures we've been posting of our advanced rescue and survival school last week, I'm sorry, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whenever that was, it feels like a year ago now, are his pictures. If you follow Bearers of the Oath and the event that they just had this last couple days, are his pictures as well. The quality of his pictures are second to none. Any of you guys that are doing a fire conference or hosting a training event in your town, city, fire department, or region, I highly recommend you contact Redbird and bring him into town, and he will make your event shine and give you that look you're looking for marketing and to increase your platform. He is absolutely a professional and takes great pictures. Again, I'm looking forward to working with Redbird again. He is kind of a dick, though. You're right.
Yeah, he was mean to me a little bit too. I don't appreciate that. But anyways, the cool thing too that I thought about his media is right there, halfway through the day, you could go scan the thing that the barcode basically that he printed out, and you could get the pictures like every hour. They were being updated or whatever it was, but he killed it. Absolutely killed it.
He did. I would absolutely recommend him with wholeheartedly to anybody who's hosting any type of training event. He's the quality is second to none.
Are you boys back or what?
We're trying, man. I don't know. I don't ever do this. We always got service, and now it's not wanting to work. So. How's that? Is that clear?
It's frozen. Put tinfoil on your head. I think that'll work.
All right. Well, anyways, we see Brother Basil in here. He said he's still waiting. He's looking forward to the podcast. Wish you a speedy recovery, brother.
Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. He just had a little incident. So hopefully he's doing good.
Well, it'll probably be recovered by the time these knuckleheads figure out their Wi-Fi. So you got that to look forward to, Basil.
That whole laying around looking forward to learning something. I might have to having another night for you, Basil.
All right, let's get into it.
Yep.
Survival class. Hands down, again, Rob killed it. The info that you get out, the way you deliver it, and then the hands-on. People getting their butts handed to them, but not on purpose. Basically, just because that's the way it needs to go in the survival deal. And learning lots. I had a lot of people reach out to me after your class the first day, saying how much they learned, stuff they never even realized, and stuff like that. It was awesome, man. It was good to be working right next to you and hearing your spiel again. I haven't heard it in a couple years, but just as good as I remember.
Well, I appreciate that, man. We got great feedback from everything we did that week. And I'm not even kidding. It's not a self-pat in the back. The comments and compliments that we received from people I highly respect throughout the whole state, even guys out of state. We had officers coming from Ohio and all over. These guys were like very happy with the program. It's something that we've been talking about for a while as a group, like doing an actual rescue and survival school specific to those two skill sets, which are unlike any other that we teach in the fire service. It's not an engine company class. It's not a truck company class. It's not your leadership programs that we work on and you go to often. It's not a culture building search class. It's legit, very streamlined, stay in your lane, maydays, rescuing each other, and survival, and increasing that through time proven skill that are implemented in a way that we've learned through trial and error and lots of research. what the most common denominators are, and how to actually deliver it the way it should be delivered. Because all of us together, the group, wholeheartedly believe that any type of RIT or firefighter survival training has to be taught a certain way. You cannot teach a truck class the way you teach a RIT class, because the person that you're training, the day that you're sitting across from them wearing that red shirt, trying to teach them how to negotiate an entanglement, an SCBA emergency, or drag a down fireman, down a hallway and out a window. It's not the person who's going to be actually doing that day, because it's personal, because there are consequences that they cannot control. It's either a brother or sister fireman they're trying to rescue, who they just broke bread with that evening, or it's themselves that are laying on the ground with the 4,000 pounds of lath and ceiling on their back when they had plans to be at Disney in the morning with their family and kids. So you have to kind of train the person the day that they're across from you to perform and function despite the person they're going to be the day of the incident. And no other skills that we teach that way, no other skills that we teach on the fire ground are taught that way, in my opinion. And again, and I always go out there and say, I don't care who I rub the wrong way, but if you're one of those guys that goes out there and teaches RIT or survival the same way you teach stretching lines and searching and making holes in roofs, you're failing your students and you're setting them up for unrealistic expectations. And unrealistic expectations will fail them on real fire grounds. So please, if you're gonna sell that product, you're gonna teach that product, sell out to it. It's okay to be a one-trick pony. We don't have to teach everything every time, and that's just my soapbox. But we had a great time, amazing group of guys, and it was an amazing opportunity. And again, I look forward to working with you guys again. Greg, you killed it with the RIT side. Herb, you killed it on everything you worked on, and I'm very happy with the survival product, and the students were the best we could have asked for.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we just got a comment right here from Brianna. She was in the class. She said rescue and survival was the first hands-on class she took. She said it was amazing. You guys truly live by the motto, leaving it better than you found it, and thank you for all your wisdom. I mean, that right there, when we get the feedback like that from our peers saying that the class was phenomenal and stuff like that, that's the reason why we're doing it. For all of us. There's plenty of instructors that are here on this board right now listening to us. You got Ron Givens, you got Basil, you got Joe DeWin, you got Chief Kustavanis. There's a bunch of instructors that are on this that are listening right now. And if you're not living what you're preaching, then you're doing a disservice in the fire service. You're lying to yourself, you're lying to the students, and I promise you they can see right through it. And if you're not doing exactly what you're selling, then you're just doing a disservice to the fire service. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. These guys, go ahead.
Well, when Brianna was saying about wisdom, she was obviously talking about you guys, not me. Mine was a couple minutes here and there, and that was it. That's all I gave,
Stop.
Each and every. I was surprised.
Go ahead.
I know I cut you off the last time. You go this time.
All right, cool. Thanks. You did cut me off. No, I'm just kidding. Stop sucking, dude. We got to get our flow back. We've been inactive too long, like McGregor.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Inactivity breeds us stepping on each other. But skill set erosion right now. Anyways, here we go. So if you guys are watching this podcast right now, these pictures that we're putting up here, this is Redbird Media, and he makes you all look like rock stars. The guys that came down, I'm going to mention them all by name. Corey Thompson, second to none. Shane Bentley on the show when he gets his Wi-Fi working. He's actually a pretty good dude. Pablo Jenner, second to none. Then you had Timmy Gleason, City of Miami, again, second to none. Redbird with the pictures, amazing. The guys that I share a screen with every so often, these guys are my brothers in battle, my brothers here in the job and off the job. These guys are amazing, man. These guys kicked ass. Every single one of us had a blast. We were exhausted at the end of every day. Went back to the hotel and crashed and gave it all. Honestly, I left there and had no regrets.
You're forgetting my hand-picked. I want to say newer guy in the fire service, but brings the skill set, brings the game, and just spits the knowledge. Is Dave McCulley. I mean, I work with him in the tech rescue side, and I handpicked that dude to bring it in because he does a lot of the competition writ stuff and all that. And I felt that he could bring, I was thinking more of like the drags and just a different mindset to the game. And he absolutely killed it. I mean, you worked with him more than I did up there, Rob. And I mean, he's just killed it.
I've had the opportunity to work with him about 3 times now, in different, again, tech rescue side and now on the fire side. And he is an absolute stud. He acts many years older and more experienced in his actual tenure and age and life experience. I was telling him, well, he's an old soul trapped in a young man's body, and he understands every aspect of the fire service. He understands the written and the unwritten. The kid is solid all around, and he's probably going to hate me for saying this, but he sells himself real short, and I constantly remind him, hey, don't do that. He's a stud. And he brings a lot to the table. He makes our team better.
You'll never pick him out of a lineup. David McCulley, you'll never pick him out of a lineup. You know what I mean?
So Irish.
His red hair and green eyes, you'll never be able to spot him.
Never. Unless you do this.
No, but anyways, that was a good deal, and I was kind of glad how guys kind of ran with their own little thing. You know what I mean? We kind of just talked about the basics, like, hey, here's the 4 things I want you to cover, and then you guys just filled the gaps with just all kinds of just awesome things. So I do appreciate to all of you, everybody that was there. I appreciate that.
So, Herb, how are we looking with our guest?
He just shot me a little text. He's going to take it to the inside of the house. So we'll just keep it moving, and
all right.
Well, as soon as they get on, we'll get them on, and then we'll get the show moving in that direction. But let's recap this advanced rescue and survival, because if you guys follow us on social media, we're actually heading back up to Georgia on March 12th and 13th, I believe it is. Pablo and Sean Duffy will be up there. Arthur Ashley will be up there. We're going to be doing a big event with Bears of the Oath. So it's going to be some live wit. We're going to be doing some survival up there. So we're actually looking forward to it as well.
It's going to be an absolute blast. He's got a great group of guys up there. I'm looking forward to it. A lot of people hitting it from different angles, and I'm excited to get up there again. It's a great place. The people are very, again, hospitality second to none, and nothing makes you want to be around firemen more than not only when they're like, branches off the same tree and like-minded, but when they're putting in as much effort in receiving in the information as we are putting it out there. And that just feeds the soul, and it makes you want to give them 110%. So I'm looking forward to it, and that's what I got when I went up to Georgia with these boys.
I think they rented a hotel room.
Great time.
Did they rent a hotel room?
That's
They
right.
did. They're in the lobby. They're in the lobby of a La Quinta.
Exactly. Hey, real quick, shout out to Scott. He flew all the way down here from Ohio to take the class with us. So
Hey,
yeah,
Scotty. What's up, Lou?
All right, you boys with us now or what?
Yeah, we're here. We had to go to Atlanta, but we're back.
All right, we like it. We like it. All right. Well, we're giving you guys 30 seconds right here to make sure you guys don't freeze up or anything before we get our hopes up.
Hey, cross your fingers.
Exactly.
The ventriloquist.
Sorry about that, guys. We little technical difficulty. The studio had a little lightning strike.
We already factored in the 45-minute mistake.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. They still there?
Yeah.
Hey, we're here. We're good.
What are y'all talking about?
Well, I mean, you're a little frozen right now, but I mean, we'll ride with it.
There you go.
I didn't understand that.
Good Lord. All right.
This is going to be tough to work out to later.
You ain't lying, bro. This is going to be a tough one. All right. Shane, you good?
Yeah, we're good. Can you see us? Can you hear us? Try
Yes,
it again.
sir. Yes, sir. All right. Well,
Maybe this will work out.
so we've already did your introductions, all that good stuff with you guys. Let's hey Shane, tell us how the Bears of the Oath got started.
Well, it was kind of one of those things where I started jotting down things on paper. Everybody's kind of seen now that's familiar with the Bearers of the Oath. They've seen the Code of Honor that's on the back of the shirts. I started doing that in 2016. I actually had a captain where I used to work that used to take, and he was the last one down, first one up. And he would take, and every night sitting in the bunkhouse, he would take and write down in a journal every night. And one night it got the best of me, and I just asked him. I said, "Captain," I said, "What are you writing in that journal?" And long story short, he's told me about the day's actions, what we done, and little did I realize and know that he was kind of keeping a journal, not just himself, and everything we done on ship with all of us together is how we've grown, how we grew throughout the years we were together. And so I kind of started doing the same thing, and it kind of one of those things where as I started writing it down, as I went back and looked at it, it was one of those things where I watched us all kind of grow, good, bad, and ugly. And with that, I came up with these 23 line items that you see. I guess it's just on the Bearers of the Oath Code of Honor. And originally they were in a different, I guess you could say, verbiage. And one night I was, in 2018, I was sitting in my office at work, and I kind of put it in fire department terminology: save lives, protect property. That was my family and my kids, my wife and my kids. And so I kind of, the whole thing behind the whole Code of Honor was I'd done it very selfishly. And so when I done that, I knew that it was extremely selfish to do, but I knew if I put a logo with it that nobody wasn't familiar with, because let's just face it, they're not taking and teaching fire department traditions and history anymore. So I was sitting there, and I was sitting in my chair, and I was leaning back trying to figure out an emblem to go with it. And I looked up in my office, and I seen that the handshake, which came from a 1794 insurance placard. And that's where it came from. That's where the logo came from. And I took the terminology from what it is, what I originally wrote it down as, to what it is now. And that's what you see. And I kind of, I showed it to a few people, and they said, "Yeah, you need to do something with that." And it was extremely selfish, but I knew if I put it on a sweatshirt or a t-shirt that people would wear it. And the reason it was so selfish is because majority of the time, you see it, and everybody's, when they turn and walk off, most of the time it's extremely humbling, but there's a lot of times it still hits me right in the face. And so that was the selfish part of it. I knew people would wear it, and I knew that eventually that it would turn into, I knew it probably turn into something. And so then I kind of reached out to a few people that I started building relationships with, people that I already knew. And that's where it came from. That's kind of how it all kind of evolved. I reached out to 4 other people, one of them being Humpy, and 3 other guys, and asked them, I said, "Hey guys, what do y'all think about this? And would you be interested in taking and kind of starting something new, starting something, a group of firemanship that has absolutely no requirements to be part of?" And here we sit today. It wouldn't be what it is without everybody that's part of it, including you guys. Every time we do something, it just gets bigger and bigger. So it was kind of my therapy, but at the same time, I made sure that it was something that I give everybody the opportunity to be a part of. And there's absolutely no closed door on anybody who wants to be a part of it. We just ask that you want to take and make the fire service better than you left it, and be a part of something that we could take and we could change together. So that's kind of how it all came about. And most of those lines that are on there, every one of them is a personal failure of mine. So that's the selfish part of it. So that leads us where we're at today. And it just keeps getting better and better. So it's a huge accountability factor for me.
That's that's where a lot of this stuff just comes from, man. It's that's how NRC started, with me and freaking Greg just sitting there, and we're like, "Hey, listen, we want to do it the way we wanted it done," so we took it and ran with it. And as long as you don't break off from that and stay true to who you are, great things will happen.
And that's exactly what it was. I kind of reached out to the guys that originally, there's 5 guys other than myself. There's 4 that I reached out to, and all of them had really a different place in my life at that time. one of them being Humpy that's here with me tonight. We knew each other previously, but we at the time before this all came about, we kind of got linked back up, and we was both doing things with other training groups. And it's not that we ever considered ourselves any better. We just wanted to do something that offered a little bit more and create realistic training with realistic scenarios, and give everybody the chance to come be a part of it. That just pretty much wanted to take and not be condemned or fussed at or bitched at or hollered at for wanting to do the right thing. And it's I would have never, honestly, to be truthful, honest with you, I would have never expected the opportunities that it's brought. So with that, it's kind of every day it turns into more of an accountability factor. So it's pretty heavy when you don't want to let people down, especially the ones that take and look to you and trust in you. So I told a guy this weekend after a class we had, I really don't know most of the time. I feel like a lot of the times I don't know the correct words to say to show my appreciation other than thank you. And sometimes I feel like that's not enough. But the opportunities that it's afforded us to start doing things that we really wanted to do, and link us up with guys like NRC and all the other guys that we've got. Build Your Culture, Sean and Pablo, and Citizens First, and Todd Shepard. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And this is Basil. I mean, there's a whole bunch of guys. There's guys all over that. I really don't think it's no accident that we've all ended up together.
I agree.
So, hey, Hump. So what's a little bit of your backstory?
Ooh, put me on the spot.
Spotlight.
With the group or just in general?
Just in general, brother.
What's like your favorite color, Hump?
Hump, you lived it, man. Just tell us your story, babe.
Red favorite color. I started in the fire service right out of high school. Just like that's all I wanted to do. Got in with it. I went through a rough spell. I worked at a single engine department, and I learned a lot of bad habits. Lazy being one of them. Like, Duffy talks about, all the perks of the fire station. You get to come sit around and play video games for 24 hours. And yeah, that was me.
Wow.
So, like I said, I met Shane in, I guess, about 2010. I'd known him. He sold for a fire company around here. But got linked back up with him whenever he came to work where he's at now. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. So that's where we're at now. I've had to work on, I guess, close to 10 years of bad habits, and it's a struggle every day. I mean, can't just change overnight, but this Bears of the Oath has definitely been the best thing that's ever happened in my career. So,
Well, and that's what it's all about, man. Because you get like-minded guys around each other, you're either going to have to shit or get off the pot, and that's the reality of it. When Shane came down, all the guys went and everyone passed out. Everyone was tired. It was like 2:30 in the morning. Me and Shane are still up, sitting in the hotel lobby, talking shop. It's one of those things where it's contagious, and if you're not willing to jump on that train and lead from the front and actually live what you're selling, you're going to get lost, and people are going to read right through it. And just seeing the three of you guys that I've met, you guys eat, live, and sleep that lifestyle. So that's what has drawn us to you and vice versa. And myself, Greg, Rob, we're looking forward to the March class. We're looking forward to the other event that we're going to talk about here later that people don't know about quite yet. Other than that, man, it's truly been an honor for me to hop on and be a part of your guys' Bearers of the Oath and what you guys are doing.
Well, and the one thing too, Rob, I know you're going to add something here, but just to add to that, the one thing too is when you're with a group of people and they study this stuff inside and out, they read the reports, they do all that. You're not lying to them. You're not bullshitting them. You're not faking it. You know what I mean? You got to bring something to the table, and sometimes you got to throw it out there and you say, "Hey, what do you think?" Because I kind of felt this way with our RIT stuff. Like I look at it a little bit different. You know, you see the articles, but you don't see the training, and then you see a little bit of training, but you don't see any articles or any layouts. It's kind of shooting from the hip. This one was kind of laid out, and it was a little something that I've been looking at and seeing and pulling from a bunch of people, little things here and there, and kind of putting it all together. And I laid it all out, and kind of seemed like crickets for the first hour or two. And then once we started getting into it, guys were coming up and they were just absolutely bombarding me with questions about why and how and this way and that way. And, you know, we really need to do that, but our department doesn't get buy-in. And I think that's where the Bearers of the Oath come in, man. I mean, that is what you guys sell 100%.
Yeah, it's it never ceases to amaze me how many times throughout a class or when we was down in Florida a couple weeks ago with you guys, something as simple as a sticker on somebody's cooler makes a big difference. And you know, when they come up and they're excited to talk to you and meet you, it's very overwhelming at times because to me we're no different than anybody else. And we get a lot of pushback from other organizations throughout the state level at Georgia, and you know, we get criticized and condemned a lot of times for what we do, but we're not going to stop doing it. So, but you know, it's one of those things where I was looking on the Yellow Pages today. I call the Yellow Pages Facebook, and I was looking at one of the guys that he'd posted a comment from the class we had this past weekend, at the end of the week, and he put on their hashtag 25 and 15. And I kind of looked at it, and of course it makes me smile because I said, I thought my thing with 25 and 15 is it doesn't matter if it's a fire alarm, possible structure fire, confirmed structure fire. Every fire alarm has entrapment. And I spent years teaching myself that there's 25 adults and 15 kids in every call. And people say, why do you do that? And I said, the reason I do it is because from the time that we get on the truck, their engine, whichever it is that you're riding, in Rob's case sometimes, but
well played.
Yeah, see, all them 56K dial-up jokes a little while ago, we heard it. So, but no, truth be honest with you is, if you create the worst situation in your mind when you're responding to any possible fire, hopefully it can get better from when the time you go on scene. And when I play it out, it's 15 and 25 in my mind. You know, most of the time, I've never been faced with that opportunity yet. I hope I never do. But what I do is I prepare myself in my mind what to do, and knowing what I have to do to be able to take and face that situation when I get there. So, it's just one of those things. And to have 56 students, and this past week for a class that we've done something, we took a class Thursday and Friday and done something bass aqua just never been done before. And we set a building on fire and said, here you go, fellas, this is yours. And they was like, holy shit, what? But what it did was we had some big name departments there, and they realized that once they were opening up the vulnerability, once you crossed the threshold, it didn't matter what name you had on the back of your turnout code. So, and within a period of 3 hours, we spent the next 16 hours in class taking and honing our skills. And it was very cool to see all these guys take away something from it. And for somebody to take and put 15 and 25 out there on the internet, they look at you and they trust in what you're saying. So the accountability factor, like we was talking about a minute ago with the code of honor, it's a lot. It's big shoes to fill. So, but people's listening to you and they trust in you. So you have to take and, it gives you that sense of trust and accountability all the time. So.
Dude, you guys are putting up a great product, and I'm gonna circle back to what you said earlier there, Shane. Any type of pushback you're getting in your region, it's normal. It comes with the territory. Anytime you start making any form of waves or progress, or you're going against the norm, it happens at every level. It's been happening since guys started stepping out of line and thinking outside the box on their own. Listen, all of us are students, every single one of us, whether it's the guy who's been doing this 40 years and teaching at the highest level, or the guy who's 4 minutes into teaching, and then everyone in between. We're all students of this game, and only the best of that group is doing it right, because we have to all remember that regardless of what you're doing and how you're presenting and what you're preaching, what your passion is, and what you want to see improved in the fire service, you're a student first, and humility comes with that. And if you lose the fact that we're all students and learning from each other, I learned so much from you and from Lee and from Corey and from Greg and from Herb. The entire week I'm there. I'm learning from the students, and it's not the instructor cliche of I'm here to teach, but I'm also going to learn. I actually mean it, man. I actually mean it. The second I left my sandbox, I became such a much better fireman. My sandbox being my region, my fire department, my protocols, my department, my training division. This is not a shot at my region, department, or training division in any way, shape, or form. I'm grateful to them for everything I have to this day and for the opportunities they've afforded me. But I didn't become versed in my craft until I left the walls of my organization and my region. And I started dealing with guys that were reading the label from outside the jar, not inside the jar. Because you're in the jar when you're in your organization. Insert patch here. We all work for different agencies. Okay? And those guys, and if the second you leave that agency and that jar and you realize that you're part of the fire service, we all say we're brothers, right? If I fly to California right now and I run into this a California guy and we start talking shop and he rides a truck and I ride that hybrid and we start getting to talk about the truck, his truck and my modern piece. All right. I'm going to call him brother at some point. All right. Nice to meet you, brother. Nice to meet you, brother. Because we're all part of the fire service. And the best firemen I've ever met, the most knowledgeable firemen I've ever met, the best students and teachers I've ever met, they've all been students first, and they've understood that the walls outside their agency matters. We've had guys on this podcast from the West Coast. We've had guys from the FDNY. We've had guys that are local. We've had guys now from Georgia. And at every level, they've told us, it wasn't until I left the walls of my organization, started going to fire conferences, listening to podcasts, reading books written by people outside my region and my agency, that I did not start becoming well-versed in my craft. And you guys understand that. The guys above me on the screen understand that. And I think the listener should understand that, man, if you're working for an organization, I don't give a shit what your patch says. You got to get outside that organization and become a part of the fire service and meet like-minded brothers and sisters outside your walls and learn how to do things different. The way you're forcing a door is the way you're forcing a door, but there's 10 other ways to do it. And there's guys in some podunk fire department in the middle of the country in some flyover state who's figured it out better than you ever did, because he's mastered that skill 10,000 times. So be coachable, be teachable, and remain a student of the game. That's my take on that. Now I have something to add real quick. I know I've been talking for a long time, but Lee, you sparked something on me earlier when you said that your first 10 years on the job, you were in an unhealthy environment, unhealthy culture, and that kind of breeded you to become what you became at that time, right? And then you had that moment of clarity that you said, hey, I need to do X, Y, and Z to become the fireman I envision myself becoming, or the person I envision myself being. That moment, what was the realization? Because I know what mine was, and it's funny because you made me become a little introspective. When you were talking, I was listening and I thought about my moment. And that made me realize, dude, Rob, you don't know shit. And that started the process in which I'm on now, this journey to learn as much as I can about the fire service. Because I'm starting my 19th year and I feel like I've been on the job 9 minutes. And I got to be honest with you, man. That's just the way I feel.
Yeah.
What was your moment?
It was pretty much it was about the same time that Shane came along and asked me to be a part of this. Asked me what I thought. It was before that. Whenever I linked back up with Shane, saw what he was talked with him about his vision at the new department he was at, and I saw what he done with the crew he had and changed them around. I thought, wow, that's where I need to be. I need to change what I'm doing. And don't get me wrong, I struggle with it every day. It's still the same. But that's when I had the moment.
Yeah. I'll be honest. How about you, Shane? You remember your moment? Where you just saw the badass right out of the womb?
We can't hear you.
Where you was just badass right out of the crib, right out of the cradle. You were just a badass fireman, ready to go. Or
it just pisses excellence right from the get go.
Right off the rip.
There we go. Let's try that now. Try it again.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can now.
Shane, what was your moment? Did you have a moment too, or are you just a badass right out of the womb?
No, I definitely had a moment. I walked in. Long story short, I walked in the firehouse day one and had the baddest captain you could ever imagine, and got set straight day one. Was forced to work hard to learn how to do the job really quick, and he is still today his friend and mentor first. He is absolutely mentor. I often think about the day I walked in there and I seen him and I looked at him and he's kind of looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing here? And so throughout that, a few years into it, I've never done well at keeping my mouth shut. I've never done well at finishing second. And I had an experience to where I popped off one time and I was forced to retire for a little bit at a very, very early age in the fire department because of my mouth. And luckily I was able to return back to the job. But when I did, I realized that there was a time between there that I had to take off to go back, that I realized, hey, I need to start learning to discipline myself. And that I also realized that I wasn't happy with having to follow a certain group of people. And I had to remove people from my life, from my inner circle. And that wasn't easy to do because I've always been the guy that encompassed myself with all of my friends. And so at the time, I had to remove people. I had to start concentrating on the passion that I had was there. I had to learn to take and dive into it with that. And when I did, I just one of the guys that's part of the Bears of the Oath, Jonathan Jordan, he was my captain when I went back, early lieutenant, then captain. And we've always been really good friends. And he allowed me to be me, the kind of person that I am today, as his driver. And he was my officer. And he allowed me to get outside the box and push the envelope, but he would reel me back in. And when it came to that point to where I realized, hey, I've got an opportunity. Arrogantly, I realized I had an opportunity to influence people. And when I did that, about the time I started realizing that, that's when I started kind of looking and saying, look, there's absolutely no way I want to do this by myself. And the people that influence me, that's when I started reaching out to them and talking to them. And, I kind of felt like that we needed some change. And I knew if I attacked it by myself, I was going to be out there by myself. So it allowed me to take and reach out to the guys and like Humpy, and then Jonathan Jordan, Richie Tebow, Scott Sanders, all these guys that always trusted and allowed me to be me, even at the mouth sometimes, because my mouth has got me in a lot of trouble. But they've always trusted and believed in me in this. But it's also taught me the law of accountability. I'll be honest with you guys, they ain't making men no more. So I realized too at a young age that when people started coming to the fire service, it didn't matter their age. If they didn't have any fire service experience, that was an opportunity. And the opportunity was to teach them about the fire service and to encourage them that it was okay to love the fire service and to do work and to want to work hard. And it's kind of, I don't know, the mentality that I had was you had to, as arrogant as I am at times about things, you have to truly care about people, and you cannot get people to perform for you at 100%. I'm not talking about 75 or 80 or 90% because that's not acceptable to me. So if somebody wants to take and perform for you at 100%, they got to know you care about them, and that starts with every day, every shift. and you have to know what's going on in their lives. You have to tell them you care about them. You have to tell them you love them, and because they will not want to perform for you or let you down if they don't know that you care about them. And so I had that opportunity. I screwed up, messed up, and got kicked in the nuts, and got another opportunity. And I swear to God, I would never forego that. And here I sit today.
Well, I appreciate your honesty, bro.
Appreciate it, brother. It's
no.
If we're going to talk about where that coming to light, that coming to Jesus talk was, for me, that coming to Jesus talk was given to me by a mentor in the fire service to me, which is on the screen with me, Greg Rogers. Little backstory: I got the opportunity to get into the teaching game super young in my career. I've only been in the fire service 17 years, and it happens to all of us. You get that, you kind of get that puffy chest early on in your early on when you starting to get that opportunity to teach and stuff, and you get stuck on, well, it's my way or the highway type mentality. And that grumpy old man pulled me aside and said, "Hey, listen, if you want to make a name for yourself, you better tighten the fuck up." Just like that. I'm not mentioning any words. And I kind of fought back a little bit. And he was like, "All right, well, you're going to leave just like the rest of everyone else. So either tighten up, expand your horizons." And now we are where we are. So for me, that was my coming to light. He gave me that opportunity to, you need to check yourself, because walking around thinking that you're God's gift in the fire service or something like that, the reality is you're not shit. And there's plenty of people out there like that. And the moment when you can see that and you can look inside and be like, okay, you know what? I'm able to be organized to give these guys information, but let me turn it around and let me be a student of the craft. That's where it makes it all better. So that was my coming to light, and I thank Greg all the time for that.
Just for the record, I wasn't that old when I told him that. He called me a grumpy old man. I was kind of like a grumpy young man.
Mustache.
That's the mustache. That's me and Jason Liska talked about the mustache the other day, and the mustache has character, so don't fuck it. It don't matter. Let me tell you something.
So is that hat, dude. Gangster.
Yeah, I know it is because I'm a fucking pimp. But the thing is the day one when we were down there in Florida 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it was an hour into it, and me and Herbie and Captain Rogers Greg was working on the windows, and they was just constantly busting ass on each other. And I was like, damn, here I am. I'm sitting there going, what in the hell's going on here? And Herb walks off, and Greg tells me, he tells me the same thing that Herb just said. And then we swap roles, and Greg walks off, and Herbie tells me the same thing. And it hit me. It was the same thing. It was the exact same thing that we do to one another here. Like, we are constantly on one another's ass. But to hear Herbie talk about Greg and then Greg talk about Herbie, it was kind of one of those moments like, hey, this is why we do this. And I'm going to bust his ass harder than anybody else's ass I bust. And it made 100%, everything made sense right then and there. And I kind of so I told Daniel Redbird, I said, all right, I get it now. I see where it's at. And it made sense, and it was cool. And then you kind of started settling in at home. And then we sat there that night, and me and Herb had those conversations, and me and Rob had them several times. And the conversations that we had after the fact of Rob coming to Georgia, and then Rob getting deployed, and then you sit there and you have conversations with guys like this. It's not by accident, because when you have the conversations and they're venting to you and they trust in you, it isn't because it doesn't have to be that these guys for years. It's like-minded people tend to take and migrate to each other, and that's exactly what happened. And I kind of I told some of the guys, I said, man, this is crazy. I said, I feel like we stepped right back into the house where we're at right now. So it's and then to see it all turn into a big, I don't know, an orbitable circle. The other night, I kind of took a highlighter and a pen, and so somebody asked me the other day, they said, where is the nucleus of this? And I said, what do you mean? They said, where's the nucleus of all of what's going on right now? And I started taking and writing names down. I took a state North American map and started writing names down. And then I started putting all of them together, and I started, and it wasn't really hard to find the nucleus of it all, because somebody has to originate from somewhere to meet somebody and to see that. And we just kind of, the first conversation me and Herb had, we just kind of fell right into it, and here we are today doing it. And it's kind of, I'll just tell you, I don't know any other way to say it, is this is how we're going to do things. If you don't like it, fuck it. If you don't like it, sorry, you're not part of it. So it's pretty cool to see what's going on, because there's so many other guys like NRC or the Bears of the Oath that's out there that's doing the same things. And I told, there was one of the students in class the other day, said, man, how do you get hooked up and linked with all these people? I said, well, the truth be known is there's a bunch of them out there, and I'm a troll. I get on the damn internet and I watch people, and it just kind of happens. And, you know, I go after the guys that I feel like can make me better. And, you know, and trust is a big word. And, you know, you put yourself out there to trust these guys, guess what? The chances are when you find like-minded people, you don't get burnt. And that's, you know, I really, it's kind of it's reiterated the fact that we're doing the right thing, and how we're doing things, the mentality that we have works. And I think we create a culture for people to be able to take and come to us and create that comfort zone for them to take and get out of their comfort zone they've been stuck in for years. So they're looking for people like us, and it's, you know, it gives us the opportunity to take and spread what we're talking about. So it's pretty cool. It's really neat to see.
I'll have to say one thing, that it's more of a statement than it is a question. When you look at people's logos on their shirts or their sayings and all that, you're like, you know what, that's legit. Like Build Your Culture, you know, Pablo and Duff. I mean, those guys, it's like, all right, that's pretty deep. I can handle that. It's not just, you know, a little cliche deal. You know, we've got this monkey, kind of a hard monkey thing going on. And to be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of it at first. But then it started selling, and it kind of represented what we do. And now I get it. You know, that hard old salty monkey just kind of does what he wants and type deal. But I when I hit you up, Shane, one day after a couple of days we were working, I'm like, hey man, I said, how do I get one of these Bears of the Oath shirts, or I want a hoodie? Who do I buy it from and all that? I thought you were gonna say, like, realistically, I was kind of putting myself out there. I thought you were gonna say, listen, man, you got to earn that. Like, I was kind of nervous. Like, we just don't sell them. You got to earn it. But it's kind of a deep seated oath to wear that. It's super deep. Like, how proud you're going to be to wear that. That's not just a saying, you know what I mean? Like you know, we did Train to Live, which I thought was big, and it covers a lot and all that. But I mean, yours is, like you said, that's the oath that all of us took to be into the fire service and the rescue side. You know, any of those guys, the mountain rescue guys, any of that, the oath that they took, it's like they got to be on their game all the time. So when I kind of saw that, you know, and I was like, man, that's pretty legit. You know, I got to get one of these, and hopefully he's not going to tell me to pound sand that I'm mediocre. Come see me in 5 or 6 years, kid. But you were like, yeah, I got you, bro. No problem. And I felt like it was kind of like, oh, that's cool. You know, I earned that, or he's just being nice and he's never sent it to me, which is kind of what's happening now. Cause you know, I haven't got it, bro. Thanks. Appreciate that. I can take a joke, you know, I see the backhanded compliment there. But anyways, no, it's kind of a pride thing, man. That's like that's pretty heavy. It's kind of savage, you know, to wear that.
Yeah. You know, my thing is we get that a lot. And there's a lot of guys that always come up and they say, man, can we buy your shirt? Can we wear your, and this might be the wrong thing to say, but there's some guys that, you know, you want to give shirts, you want to take and give to everybody. And, you know, sometimes you have to take and you have to charge people for things. And I get that. And that's just the truth about it. The thing about it is, though, is there's no open door or no closed door that goes with it, man. And when you take and you create a culture of people, and so the most humbling thing I've ever heard is in October when Rob came up to Georgia, the surveys that we sent out, I got to reading them, and the biggest compliment I've ever had is, and I take that graciously with everybody, is the fact that they said, you made us a better firefighter. Or the biggest one was that you made me a better father and a husband. And when, and I'm not gonna lie to you, when I read that, I sat there and I looked at it, and that solely had to do with how that, because there's no bullshit about it. The classes that we do are exactly 100%. We try to make them as realistic as possible. And when you have guys that come to do work like that, they want to come. You just don't attract everybody. You attract a certain type of firefighter. But most of it, it's not the work that they're coming to look for. They're looking for that brotherhood, the word that's stowed around that most people don't understand what that means. And so when they, when you sit down and you talk to them, and my biggest thing, Herbie said it best, well, the first night I ever talked to him, we was talking about how NRC happened and how Bearers of the Oath happened. We wanted to take and provide, we wanted to be that instructor that we wanted at the time when we was looking for that. And so we have really high expectations out of everybody, and we want them to work hard, and failure is not an option. Now, we will take and allow you to fail to be successful, but we're not going to allow you to quit. And so with that, sometimes you have to take and manipulate people. You have to absolutely take and manipulate people to get the best out of them, and they might not realize it at the time. And when you do that, if you give a shit about them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to work twice as hard. And sometimes it's simply as much as saying, derailing them from what they're talking about and going, hey, tell me about your wife, tell me about your kids, tell me about your family, tell me about your life. And you get them in a comfort zone, and next thing you know, bam, you get them, next thing you know, you just totally manipulated them to get more out of them. It's not the body, it's the mind. It's all mindset. So if you get their mindset right, they'll take and work twice as hard for you. And next thing you know, they've accomplished something that they've never done. And that's kind of to be truthful and honest with you, that's the trickery that comes behind it. And I hate to see somebody that wants to quit or fail. And so we've that's kind of been my whole thing is I'm surrounded by a group of guys. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So I allow them to do their thing, and I take and slide in on the backside and take and try to manipulate these guys. And next thing you know, they're doing things that it never fails. They walk up to you and say, "Man, I didn't think I could do that." And it's not that's that hard. They've been beat down for so long, or they don't want to take and commit themselves because they're afraid of what somebody else is going to say to them.
Hey, Shane and Lee, that stuff's awesome, man. Let's kind of like switch lanes a little bit and start talking about let's focus on our subjects now. Start talking about passion and leadership and culture and breeding a successful team. Everyone here at some level is some type of formal or informal leader in their organization, within their groups, within their companies, within their training tribes. We care about the fire service. Every single one of us does. The guys listening, we're part of that group of guys that really cares about the direction this fire service is going, whether we're talking about our region or anywhere coast to coast, border to border. How do you guys, and I want to hear from both of you guys. Every single one of us chose to be here. How do you guys address that guy or girl at the firehouse who just kind of landed there? And how do you build them? How do you create a successful team from your position? I know my actions. I know what I would do. I know what works for me, but all of our styles are different. I'm not that go, alpha male in your face. Look at my abs and look at all the cool shit I can do. So I'm gonna go lead you through intimidation or I'm gonna outwork you. I know my style works based on approachability, networking, relationship building, and creating trust and caring. I really do care about firemen. My biggest strength I've found out over my 40 plus years of life is that the reason I'm successful at my job is because I actually do care about my job and the men and women I work with and surround myself with, and that's created the opportunity for me to create relationships and opportunities to teach and be around people that are way smarter than me and taught me a lot. So what do you guys do? You and Lee, how do you guys see yourselves building a successful team and creating that culture for that member who didn't choose to be here? Oh, he just kind of landed here because every organization has them.
Go ahead.
I'm not really talking about this kind of stuff.
I don't know. It's to me. I think it matters. So there's 4 rules for me. When you enter the firehouse, and when you show up to work, this is simple. There's 4 rules. Of course, we have to know SOPs and SOGs. That's just really to take and keep you out of trouble, I guess. And you never really have to get into that. And there's 4 rules, and at first I thought it was the younger generation, but it's really not the younger generation. What it is people are looking for people to lead them, and not everybody is good at being leaders. And so mine are, you show up to work on time, and on time is early. My early is a little different than everybody else's. Mine is very early in the morning. That's kind of my time. That's where I get my day together. The other is you're going to take and eat and pray together. My mouth does not dictate that, but we will pray together daily. We will bless the food. We will train together, and there's no set time. And then we will do chores together. And that's one of the reasons that drew me to Herbie was when he started talking about his routine was, so there's absolutely no color, helmet, or stature or rank that gives you the opportunity to take and lead better than doing what you're asking everybody to do. So when it comes to chore time, we're toilets is not above us, mopping, cleaning. And what I found out with all of those 4 rules is that's where you really develop the relationships. And so to take and understand what somebody's capable of, it's really the art of manipulation. And, you hear people, you say manipulation, and what's the first thing somebody thinks of? Something negative. It's usually if somebody thinks you're out to get somebody, you're out to burn somebody, you're out to take advantage of them. And I will tell you, I'll be the first person to tell you, I'm absolutely out to fucking take advantage of you. And when I say that, the reason I say it is because I want to take and prove to you that you're more capable of doing something than you ever thought you were. And so I use the art. If you take the art of manipulation, I got a PowerPoint that we do that when manipulation comes up, everybody goes, you can watch the faces. It's reaction. It's chain reaction. Everybody's looking at one another like this, going, manipulation, that's terrible. And when it comes up and goes in a fade, it goes for a positive outcome. They go, oh, so you literally just took and manipulated them into believing that the word manipulation is okay. And then when you start talking about it, you don't talk about the fire service. You start talking about them. You start learning about them. You're learning what they want, what they like, what they're capable of. The problem is people in the fire service, they're stricken by somebody that leads them in a negative way, or they don't know what they're capable of. And all you have to do is manipulate them just a little bit to get them to realize that they're more capable of doing something than they thought they were. The body will do so much more than the mind will allow you. And once they do that once or twice, guess what happens? They start developing confidence. And that's
so let me jump in on that, Shane. And you and I had this conversation. So everybody wants to rush to get promoted. Everybody wants to hurry up and get the bugles, but they rush to get the bugles, but they don't rush to get to know their people. They don't understand what's going on in the fellow firefighters that are in their house, what's going on in their life. Is that unordinary for that guy to show up at 7:45 that day? Well, if you show up at 6:45 and he's a later relief, well, talk to him. Is there something going on?
Right.
If he's a little quiet that day, the fact of the matter is that people do not take the time to invest in their guys, learn their guys. It's so quick to, oh, I got promoted, I know everything. Well, you don't know everything. Maybe you need to go out there, put your gear on, and go train with the guys. Let them see that you're doing it right alongside of them. Because at 2:00 in the morning, they need to know that you're able to perform the same way you're asking them to perform. And Greg, myself, Rob, we've had this conversation numerous times, especially on different podcasts and stuff like that. But it comes a time that in the fire service, we're so quick to want to get promoted. You want to get your own house, but no one is sitting there investing in their people. You're investing in yourself to get the classes and move forward to get promoted. But then once you get there, now you need to ask yourself, okay, well, what am I doing to invest in my guys? Are you helping them get ready to take your spot? Are you helping them to move forward? And if you sit there and you answer no, well, then guess what? You're a shitty leader. You need to sit there and start questioning your own inside and be like, hey, what? Maybe I'm doing something wrong here.
Well, so what? Let me get on that too, because I'm getting old, dude. You already pointed that out a few times. So leadership is the art of motivating a group of people to achieve a goal. Period. So when I got moved out, and this is not a pat on the back by any means, this is just a situation that I thought was okay, and I probably borrowed it from somebody. I didn't reinvent the wheel, but I thought it was pertinent for the deal. So the crew that I have, money. I could absolutely release the crew that I have for anything right now. That's not all me. I think where I'm crediting myself is releasing the hounds. I feel that the hounds were kind of trapped. They are all good before I got there. They just didn't know they were, and they didn't realize to release it or make it taking that step out of the box a little bit and going, oh shit, I just made a mistake, and we all laugh at him and we beat him up. But how many people in the firehouse learn when we do something stupid like that? I'm telling you, the reason they learn most from me is I probably do the most stupidest stuff in the station per numbers, because so whatever, I don't care. But, not to the point of getting anyone injured and all that. Fired. We'll go off the air and talk about that, but let's not bring that up right now. Sensitive subject. But anyways, so we did some training aspects, and I basically empowered the crew because I knew they were good, 100%. I knew they were good. So I said, you guys are going to teach back to all the stations when they come in to do tech rescue training or whatever it was. So it makes them actually go get the information. It makes them get a little mindset going, get a little rhythm, and then they don't want to look stupid if they care. And they all cared 100%. And they actually killed it. They probably did better than I would have done, even if I would have read it or whatever. But so I think that's a good leader, but that doesn't have to come from the top down. That can also come from firemen in the middle. Now my crew, I can't even control them. They do so much stuff and make me tired. I got to go hide. You know what I mean?
Same.
But it's like they come to me and go, "Hey man, we want to try this out. What do you think?" And then I sit there and I think about it. I said, "Give me a minute. Let me weigh the options." And then I'm like, "All right, let's do it." Or let's do it a different way. Or you know what? Do it on the truck. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. But you have to fix it for the next shift because they're not ready. They might not have the buy-in, and we don't have the data. That's the reasoning. So I think that makes a really good leadership with your members, and that travels up and down. So the leadership chip moves around all different people. It has nothing to do with rank, in my opinion.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, brother. When you find that true leader, that and I'm not saying that by any way, shape, or form any one of us is that person or myself. I consider other people way better than me. I'm not my own best leader by any way, shape, or form. But when you find that true leader who's found the balance between relationship building, wisdom, and information, because a lot of guys have a lot of information but carry very little wisdom. A lot of guys have life wisdom but carry very little information. Or like you just mentioned, data, Greg. You need a combination of maturity, wisdom, information, and relationship building skill to maintain that firehouse, to maintain that daily responsibility we have to build our people and focus on their personal and professional development. A firehouse culture is something that I believe everyone's responsible for maintaining, but ultimately the buck stops at the company officer or the guy in charge of that firehouse. And when you're building a successful team, myself, lay expectations early, develop trust and relationships with these people on and off the truck. These guys need to know they can talk to me about anything at any time. Whether I'm tired, upset, or fatigued, these guys need to be able to come to me and talk to me about anything, anytime. They need to be able to trust me to show me their vulnerabilities. I don't want firemen that pretend working with me.
Right.
I don't want the costume party. I don't want pretenders, bro. But you know what the problem lies is that if I set my expectations to them too high and I never show my vulnerabilities as their quote unquote formal leader, quote unquote their informal leader, if you're the senior member at your firehouse without rank, if I never show the guys and girls I work with my vulnerabilities, they're never going to show me theirs. And that's taking me time. It's taken me time to understand that, and a lot of maturity to be okay with not knowing everything, not understanding that the fire service has so much more for me to learn than what I learned in my little jar. And being able to go to my men, go to the guys at my firehouse and let them know, hey, take point of this because right now, this is not my forte, guys. I don't know everything about this. I don't have the data, the wisdom, or the information to create a successful outcome or develop you guys the way that you expect me to. But all that needs to be laid on the table. And once that happens, man, these guys will walk through fire for you. These guys will follow you just out of curiosity. And you become that force multiplier. I'm reading Pablo's thing right now. You do become that force multiplier at your firehouse. You protect the culture and you maintain the standard for whatever it is for your organization and your firehouse. I believe your firehouse standard has to be way higher than your organization. If your organization standard is 100%, you should be firing at 110% of your firehouse. If you have any sort of damn company pride in yourselves or your members. I want my fire truck to show up on scene. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, but that's just self-awareness. You know what it takes to lead these guys, keep them motivated. Maybe you're the high-speed guy for the day and they're dragging. And you're like, all right, let's go. We got to make it happen, for whatever call comes in. Or today, you need a little kick and they come out like, come on, let's go look at some buildings. That turns into stretching lines, throwing ladders. Now it's a soup sandwich, man. It's going nuts. Chiefs calling your radio. It's just insane. But that's what it takes sometimes. That's self-awareness.
My greatest sense of accomplishment is when I have one of my guys come up to me at some point during the shift at a sidebar conversation or across the kitchen table or out in the apparatus bay and say, hey, Rob, that thing you talked about, that thing we saw, let's get on it and go over it. We would like to sit down and do it. When they inspire and motivate and initiate the training or make me get off my ass and go out there and do it with them, to me, that's a home run, man.
Yeah.
I did something right to put them in a position where they want to come up to me and be like, yo, you're slacking today, Cap. Let's fucking get out there and do something.
Well, in the fire service too, you're a leader by putting bugles on your shirt per the organization, but very few know how to articulate what that actually means. We have some ex-military guys that we've worked with teaching, some guys at work and all that, and their biggest gripe is there is no leadership program for these guys. You take them to where you're doing things here and there, you pass the test, boom, now you're in charge of a unit or a house or whatever. 6 months later, you're stepping up to the battalion chief running the shift and you're still trying to figure out what side of the truck your gear goes on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very, it's they don't know how to articulate it is what it comes down to. Like, and that's where we go, like you say, Rob, always going outside of your sandbox, seeing how other people do it, good or bad, which definitely makes a big deal. And you're gonna get that, it's your favorite word, rep on good or bad. And you're going to take that and put it in your toolbox, whether you never use it or you use it all the time. So that's going to help across the board.
Bro, listen, dirty little secret. Pablo Jenner says it all the time. There's different levels to this fucking game. All right? There's 100% different levels to this game. If anybody's listening and doesn't agree with me, reality check. There's different levels to this game, 100%. You choose to be in whatever level you're in right now. You choose your reality. You choose your space. You choose your operating level. Your platform where you're at right now is not permanent. No one put you there. You put yourself there.
That's right.
Okay. There is no box. There is no box. The box that you feel like you're in professionally, whether it's information, wisdom, or knowledge, or anything you put yourself into in this profession, you're putting yourself in that imaginary fucking box. So if you're unhappy in the space that you're in, go to the next level. Find somebody better than you. I surround myself with people that are way cooler and way better than me all the time because that inspires me to learn and to keep up with them. I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses and learn what they know and find out how they do it and then create my own way around it based on my personal and professional experiences. And whatever works for me, if it works for others, God bless. If not, teach me what you're doing, and I'm willing to listen. But I'm never going to sit here and say that my way is the only way, because that's impossible to prove, A, and it's not data driven, B. One more thing before you guys jump in. I see you sitting at the edge of your seats. The guys and girls that we get to work with every day, man, what a fucking privilege to go to work every day at whatever firehouse you're in whatever state you're operating in, and do the job that we do. I'm not sitting here in a soapbox. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Greg just said, getting on the truck, knowing the truck, what's in the compartments. Dude, if you're one day past the job, one singular day past the job, and you're not busting your ass to figure out how to operate and troubleshoot every piece of equipment on that truck, shame on you. We're part of the American Fire Service. I can guarantee you that I can walk into any Home Depot tomorrow, shameless plug for Home Depot, find someone with an orange apron, ask the guy or girl in the orange apron, I'm looking for electrical tape. And I expect to hear aisle 6, second shelf from the left and the bottom. Yet I can turn around and walk into any Firehouse USA and probably walk into the station, find the guy or girl on the recliner at 1 p.m. and ask them, hey, where do you keep your K2 on the truck outside? And they might have to think about it for 10 minutes and walk out to show me and open 6 compartments that are wrong before they bring it out. And God forbid, ask them how to use it or troubleshoot it. And they're responsible for life and death of each other, their members, and the public we're sworn to serve. That's unacceptable. And any company officer or senior member who rides that truck is just as responsible as they are.
Yeah, but
that's the problem with today's fire service.
Perfect example, too. For instance, Herbie, I know you're trying to get in there. Perfect example. When we were doing this RIT class, so when we did the survival side, whoever it was, it didn't matter. We knew where all our equipment was. We knew what we were wearing. We knew the game plan. We tweaked it a little bit. And then when we were done, students went and took their break, whatever. We closed the door. And as we were cleaning up, and even pre-game and post-game, we turned into a little bit session with each other because of the fact it's good, but we need to fine-tune it and make it better each and every single time. I mean, I wasn't yelled at all because I felt like I did a good job, but you guys were getting yelled at all the time. Kidding. I was the one getting yelled at.
So here's something to hop on the little soapbox. If you go work at, and we'll use Rob's plug of Home Depot. When you go to Home Depot, they tell you what to wear, what to know, and if you don't hold up to that standard, your ass is gone. So the fact of the matter is, across the U.S. and all of us that are on the screen right now, we've been all over, we've seen it. There is no accountability in the fire service right now. It'll happen a little bit at this firehouse, but then you have someone float in and their officer might not have any accountability. Accountability in the fire service is kind of out the window. So it's up to the younger guys and the company officers to hold everybody accountable. Because if you're just a tailboard fireman and you're asking your captain, your lieutenant, or your driver, hey, where's this on the truck? And he doesn't know it, hold him accountable for his actions because he's not living up to your expectations. So you know what? Take it as a learning experience, and now you both figure it out. And that goes up and down the ladder. And I just don't understand where that disconnect is, because if you go into the corporate world, there's accountability. You fuck up, guess what? You're only going to do that once or twice, and then you're gone. But yet in the fire service, we're just like, okay, he's a slug.
Well, you'll hurt their feelings too. You don't want to do that.
They can't hurt feelings.
So I see where you're going with that too, but so I think one of the hardest positions in the fire service is the younger firefighter that transitions, whatever you have, lieutenants, captains, or whatever, that step up to that position a quarter of the time, or that lieutenant that's pretty decent and steps up to a captain or a battalion chief, however your department runs, occasional, because they're not in that position all the time. And then when you go into that position, they throw so much on you, like, hey, you need to check the truck out, your 25 emails you need to check, blah, 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 whatever. Or if you're going into the battalion, you're like, hey, you got 2 meetings, you got to hit all the stations, you got to do it. So you don't really get to check your truck out. You don't really get to check out, even your board, how you're going to use it for incident command. That is one thing that I do when I ride up to battalion. I walk out, and I know this is, to me, it's when you're on the apparatus, you need your irons, you need to know where they're at. When you're the battalion, you need to have everything you can to keep accountability for that fire, whether it's 2 grease pencils or a marker or a pad of paper and another radio that's working. It doesn't matter. That's the kind of stuff you need, because that's going to make you successful, and that's going to make you, even more important, at 2 a.m, know where all your personnel are, so nothing breaks down and no issues happen. But going back, I think that firefighter or that lieutenant that steps up to a bigger role on a suppression unit and is running these, I think that is the hardest transition in the fire service, because that's one day you're a follower, the next day you're absolutely running the show, and you might not have a tactical rhythm that you normally have for the most part. That's my soapbox. I'm off of it now.
Listen, I love it. Everything you're saying requires discipline. And you can't lead others if you can't lead yourself. And discipline is a conscious decision. You cannot lose weight. You cannot get in shape. You cannot learn this job if you do not want to. You must first make a prefrontal cortex decision to be disciplined, to learn, to read, to dedicate time before you start making any type of impact on the people you're serving. Because if you can't lead yourself and you yourself are not choosing to be disciplined, you cannot make anyone around you better. Herbie, you hit the nail on the head, bro. You used the word standard. That's word standard is a bad word in the fire service. Union officials cringe at it. Some more white collar fire agencies also cringe at the word standards. We become very EMS centric. I'm not bashing EMS. It pays the bills. A lot of us work in organizations that actually do provide both fire and EMS services. Someone getting a call right now.
No, it's just Roomba. Sounds like his Roomba's kicking off.
That sounds like it's stuck under Lee's leg. Hey, kick it off to the right, Lee. But we run. Listen, standard. The standard words is become an issue in the fire service. A lot of guys are throwing it around like protect the standard, keep the standard, maintain the standard. We must first identify what the standard is. Is it my personal standard? Is it Herbie's personal standard? Is it Lee's personal standard? Or is it my organization's standard expectations of me? Once you identify what the organization standards are, and the standards you set for yourself as an individual, as the fireman, as the company officer, or the senior member of your team, a driver, engineer, a chauffeur, whatever your position is, whatever standard you set for yourself, identify it, and then work to maintain it every single day. Because that's a conscious decision you have to make when you go to work. That old story about the 17-inch plate. For my non-baseball people, home plate is 17 inches wide, right? That's in right. Little league, in T-ball, in high school, in the major leagues, it's 17 inches wide. If you can't throw a strike over 17 inches in high school, you get cut. You can't throw a strike over 17 inches in college, you get cut. You can't throw a strike in the major leagues over those 17 inches, you get cut. What happens when we can't perform at that 17-inch analogy at the fire service? We make it 18 inches. We make it 19 inches. We make it 21 inches so everybody can throw a strike. And that's creating a dilution of skills, and it's creating a culture that's getting our members in trouble and diluting what we have sworn to protect. So please maintain the standard, identify it before you can maintain it. If you do not do that, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Don't let them slide 1 inch. I'm reading what you wrote there, Pablo, and do not let it slide 1 inch, man.
Well, my dude, brother Pablo is definitely going to like this one too, because I've said it numerous times and I swear by it, and I've been saying it for 10 years, that we write our policies for the weakest person or the weakest unit. And that is a crime, because when something goes down, or they're like, oh, they're trying to set the minimum standard to the fire department. You need to come up to the task. If you have a truck company, they need to do truck shit, period. If you got an engine company, they need to be able to stretch. They need to be able to do a well stretch 5 floors. They need to be able to, solve the problem with water supply, water issues, stretching hose lines, extended stretches. They need to, but instead they write the policy. Well, man, that hose is a little heavy, or those 24s are real heavy. We're going to make that a 3-man operation now because I don't want to hurt anyone's shoulder. It's like, don't go train on it and throw it around. It's like Pablo says, man, if I'm throwing a ladder at 2 in the morning, it's the same as 2 in the afternoon. And like, that sums up the entire fire department just for that statement.
Well, I know for a fact that 3 of you guys have heard me say it all the time. We truly are pussifying the fire service. And I don't mean that in any other form than what it sounds like. People can't fucking drag an 1 3/4 line. What do? Okay, well, that's a 2-man fucking pull now. Negative. If that person cannot get to that level they need to be, well, then guess what? Maybe this job isn't for everyone. I wanted to be a brain surgeon. Guess what? That just wasn't in my cards.
Come on, dude. Come on. Don't get crazy now. We've seen you, bro.
Shakes McGee, bro. But that's the reality of it. Maybe you need to sit there, get back in when you get home or on the drive home and figure out, okay, you know what? This shit is not for me. And you can only fake it so long. And eventually it's going to come bite you in the ass. And then what? So figure it the fuck out. That's all I can tell you.
And you have tons of people who say the cliche code words, the new hype that's on the internet. But when it's time to get down, it doesn't happen for whatever reason. I don't know what the reasons are. I'm not going to sit here and speculate. But, it's like, the big flow path that happened forever. Now everything when the door opens is a flow path. Come on, man. It's, it was VES, but that wasn't good enough. So now we added VEIS, and now it's VEISACLMNOP, because that's way cooler.
By a vowel.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't even know where to begin or end.
Listen, I got to circle back real quick to make sure that I don't piss off any of our EMS centric friends. I never actually meant to bash it all. I just got a text message right now. But when I mentioned EMS earlier and the analogy I was trying to get to, guys, and I kind of veered off track, so let me just circle back and get back to it, is every single one of us that works for an organization that provides EMS services to the public we serve, whether it's any form of tiered system or combination. If you or I, and I'm speaking honestly, it's been said on the show before, if you or I mess up a dosage or create some type of minimal failure or get a complaint on an EMS call, it is almost guaranteed that myself as the captain, I will be receiving a phone call from some EMS captain or EMS division chief immediately asking about what happened in the call, what dosage was given, what policy was broken, where how the patient was treated, where the belongings are, what hospital they were taken to, what policy was followed. Flip that situation into a fire where we didn't throw up the ladder on time. My guy didn't mask up on time. There was a mask failure. The regulator broke. The mask broke for the 3rd time in the same fireman. The stretch wasn't made. The water supply wasn't caught. The truck was positioned incorrectly. The search was conducted half-assed. And we come back and talk about it and write it off to fate. Hey, we got you too late. There's nothing we could have done. They were gone before we got there. The house burned. The fire was too advanced. The flow path wasn't right. We were transitioning to put water through a fucking window because it was too hot. And then we start doing survivability profiles of the building. And we generate all these excuses. And I will not get one phone call from one operation chief. I will not get one phone call from one EMS chief. I will not have any repercussions for my actions or inactions based on that fire's performance, because there is no accountability when it comes to that side of the job. Instead, I'll probably get a pat in the back, some form of ribbon or commendation, and some kind of a high five, and be lied to and told I'm the best company in the fire service by the same chief that called me earlier about forgetting someone's purse at their house and taking them to the wrong hospital. That's the problem with EMS systems right now, and that's where I was going. We force one, but we don't enforce the other, because one pays the bills, the other one doesn't.
Well, and normally that same person that's that's calling you out or whatever, they actually don't know the fire side, or they've lost touch, or their last fire class they went to is the day they made lieutenant. Now they're a chief of some sort, assistant or battalion or whatever. I mean, we see it all the time in the tech rescue side, being questioned like, oh, how come there's not 3 ropes and 9 prusik cords going to that guy? It's like, because it's overkill. Like, the data and the numbers are here. This is why they do the same thing. The one thing that really aggravates me is when you have to tell a fire story, or a tactic, or a task level operation that you're doing, and when you're telling the story, they kind of have a blank stare on your face. But when you maneuver it over basically and refer it to as an EMS call, now all the light bulbs go off. So we're transitioning our actual 2 different disciplines. Paramedic is a cert, firefighter is your job. But we've turned it to where it's more of a paramedic's your job, and then occasionally we'll, hopefully we wing it through a fire. It's horseshit. I'm fired up right now. I feel like I got to go cool off, dude.
I don't cool off.
Where's your fire helmet? Get your fire helmet. Where's your fire helmet at?
What's so?
Who are these 2 strangers?
We patched in, and we was trying to get into the voting machines, but we found y'all.
These boys are in HD.
Bro, it looks like they got an OnlyFans account right now, bro. I paid the extra $5 for the 4K, dude.
Oh, man. Hey, real quick, before we get serious again, has anyone noticed that Rob Ortega from Miami-Dade has been saying hello to everyone watching on the bottom of our screen?
Yeah, he has.
He's out here making friends and asking for coins and free shit the entire time we've been on here.
Hi, Mr. Ortega.
Hey,
I got
go follow him Mono Mondays.
Right after Christmas, I got a card from him. Thank you very much. I got a card from him, and my handwriting absolutely sucks. And when it came, I told my wife when she came in, I said, hey, could you help me? And she said, what is that? And I said, I got a card from Robert Ortega. And she said, what do you need? And I said, help me understand what the fuck it says. I cannot make out. And through some Helen Keller shit, I finally figured it out. Thank you, Robert Ortega.
That's fucking awesome.
I finally deciphered it, and it's great. Thank you, man. I appreciate you very much.
Well, since we got you boys back in, I want you guys to plug your conference coming up here in March 11th through the 14th.
Go ahead, Hump. Tell them about it.
Wow, put me on the spot. So we got our 2nd annual conference coming up. It's March 11th through the 14th. We're in Jackson County, Georgia, Jefferson. Some of the best people in the fire service coming out to offer hands-on training. We got NRC coming. They're going to do their advanced RIT.
Yeah. Advanced rescue.
Yeah, advanced rescue. That's going to be the 13th and 14th.
It is.
Then we got Build Your Culture with Sean Duffy and Pablo, and they're going to be teaming up with Captain Arthur Ashley from Lexington, Kentucky. He's going to be coming down. They're going to do a truck class, and along beside that, they're going to do a search class, and they're going to intertwine both of them for a 2-day class. Got Nick Peppard from North Florida Fire Expo. He's going to be coming down doing an engine track. Chief Johnson.
Yeah, Jacob Johnson from Texas.
Chief Johnson from Pearland Fire Department. He's going to be coming down doing a lecture. Great guy. Talked to him a couple times over social media. Just absolutely loves the job.
Jason Liska, Can Man, he's going to come out and he's going to do his leadership mentorship class. He's going to take and do live podcasts every day. So students, instructors, anybody that wants to sit down with him while we're live on the fire ground, training ground, can sit down and talk to him. That'd be pretty cool. So we're going to take in, we'll We'll have Hamatro also doing a 2-day education class. It's called Making Space. So those guys from Georgia Fire and Rescue, Jeff Adamak, Jarrett Jenkins, they'll be throwing it down. They'll take your basic MBA, MVC, and they'll take and show you something a little bit more than the basics. They're going to take you and show you how to take and make space and maximize and minimize the time it takes to get somebody that's truly screwed up in a vehicle. That's their specialty. Going to have the Draeger flash can at Barrow County, which is going to be one of the satellite site that we got going on. We're going to do some first due firemanship. Man, we're going to have all kinds of different things going on to where everybody can come out and take in. There's a little bit to choose from everybody. So this will be the second conference. The first one we done was in October of 2020. One of those things that was planned for August of 20. We kind of laid back with everybody else to see what was going on. Went to Pensacola in September, and everybody kind of talked us into, hey, well, you guys need to go ahead and do it. And when we did, we took it through it together in a month, and we had 166 students over 3 days, and 71 of those students stayed for all 3 days and got some real life realistic training. So man, and that's the thing about what we do is it's not cookie cutter shit. It's straight up. We try to find the best in the business to come out and take and partake with us and lay it down. As everything we do is we try to be as realistic as possible and create. We use live fire, live victims. That's frowned on sometimes, all the time, without with the minimum standard, which the minimum standard is bullshit. So that's that 99 and 1 partake in the fire service. 90% of the fire service does not belong in it. Sorry if you don't like it. That's the truth. 9% we need. You got to maximize their potential. Most of the time you have to manipulate them. And then there's that 1%. That's that 1% of us that whether you like it or not is that's us guys. That's the guys that we need to take and create events like this, to take and open up the effort for guys to come out and want to be a part of it. So, but them recliner snipers that you was talking about earlier, when our internet was so wonderfully choppy, is absolutely bullshit. If you have a company officer, you choose by choice to sit and not do nothing and perfect your craft, shame on you. Absolutely shame on you. It's your choice. And if you don't have somebody mentoring you and leading you to be better, shame on them. So, you don't have to be an officer. You don't have to have bugles to do that. You can take in, as part of your oath, man. And whether you actually had a true swearing in of your oath, some folks don't. That's part of the tradition that's gone by the way, which I absolutely matter. If you didn't swear into the oath to protect the taxpayer, the public, the servant, be that servant that you are, and people don't realize they get it mixed up as it's just a job. Well, you can go to hell in a gas truck because you're wrong. It's not just a job. It's something that you, for some reason, it led you to be there, and you should take that oath to want to be the best you absolutely could be. So we got a big lineup coming up. We're gonna throw some stuff at everybody that's as real as it could possibly be. We get a lot of help from Jackson County, now Barrow County as well. They've all jumped on board and allowed us to come to their facilities, and they just say, here you go, they're yours. Thank you for coming, and we want to be a part of it. And you put a few months in between every conference, and this is actually the 6th time we've done this. The first time we had 60 something students, and now we've been up to over 200. So it's, we get a lot of the same faces, but every time the same faces come, guess what? They're bringing me and Herbie was talking about it earlier today. They're bringing more people with them. And when they do that, that is absolutely your opportunity to take and say, hey, look, guess what? Check this out. And when they do that, they leave and they go back. And there was one of the guys, that texted me yesterday. He said, "Man, I'm sorry I couldn't be there." He blowed his bicep out, tore his bicep loose, which is ironic. Similar thing happened in Florida, but you know, he was one of the guys that was looking forward to being there, and he wasn't able to be there, but he had surgery Friday, and he's looking forward to being there. And
The captain in the captain from Miami that Rojas, that he didn't tear his arm or anything. I talked to Tim, he got an update. He just kind of banged it up a little bit, and I think he's back. He's rolling into it.
that's cool.
Hopefully your bumps and bruises and slight asphyxiation a couple times, Shane, has healed.
Man, I'm good. You know what the thing about it is it was kind of funny the other day, Friday. We had one of the guys. We were sitting on the perch in the burn building watching what was going on. So we're sitting up high in the heat and watching, and they rolled his cylinder off. And the same thing happened when we was in the building down there in Florida. It was rolled a cylinder off. You know, you felt that quick suck to your face, and you try to suck it in and hold it as long as you can. And they're doing their job. They're trying to calm you and keep you calm and trying to get you out. And they don't realize that, oh shit, guess what? Air cylinder's off. And I tried to hold it as long as I could. I had to get a little forceful with it, and I watched the same thing happen on Friday as well. But you know what? The thing about that is, guess what? That's real. It's absolutely real. And
so I think do I get a save for that since I was the one right there next to you, Shane? How does that work?
that works because we try to be realistic and put forcible entry doors right in front of our actual egresses, right? And they're wore out and tired by the end of the day, and they pick you up by your nuts and a damn air pack strap, and they run you right into the side of a damn forcible entry door and bang your head. And several times over, me and Herbie took it that day. And guess what? I'll do it again tomorrow for him. But,
that's the same door that tried to tear off Redbird's hand.
Yeah,
that was a dangerous area in there, dude.
Yeah, but you know what? He took the other day, and he was at the station. Yeah, I know everybody. For those of you who don't know who Redbird is, he's a Redbird. So he took and ripped his fingernail off the other day at the station, took his stitches out, and acted like a little wimp, and done it, and bit down on a towel. And next thing you know, he's walking around out there and getting at it yesterday. He was up in the building taking pictures, and so. We got some cool people that partake in all this stuff. So, and I'll take the ass whooping every time to take and help those guys take and have some realistic training. So it's pretty neat to see what goes on and what happens.
That's 2 saves for me then.
Well,
Redbird and you.
Yeah, right. In less than a week's time, you got 2 grabs. So we need to report that to.
It's what I do, bro. Don't worry about it. It's what I do.
Hey, man,
hey Shane, I think this would be a good segue then, with you and I talking about it, and it was actually Rob brought it up to us. It was we were talking about, since FDIC got canceled, people are hungry for the training,
right?
And so NRC and Bearers of the Oath, we're getting together in April, and we're actually going to hold a 5-day training conference. So more information is going to come out here shortly. But me and Shane have been talking about it, and it's going to be pretty badass.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, and there's nothing wrong with the big name training conferences, by no means. And I'm not trying to throw shade at them, but you know what? You can come get better training, and you can come get it from some realistic guys, passionate guys. Not to say that it's not up there. I promise you, it's there. But anybody that's ever taught at on the big show like that at FDIC Firehouse, they'll tell you. And if they don't, they're lying to you. I will promise you this.
It's so it's not that taking anything away from anybody. They canceled the event, so we want to give training and to as many firemen as possible, and let the training continuously continue. You guys are doing something in March, so Rob brought it up, and Rob actually brought it up to Greg and I in a text message, and we just said, screw it, let's run with it. So we reached out to you guys, and here we are. So there's going to be a lot more information that comes out on it in the next few weeks, but it's we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a bunch of live fire training. It's going to be a bunch of hopefully Sean and Pablo are out there with us, and it's just going to be a good time.
It will be. It will be. That's I mean, good. It's good stuff. And the thing is there's these departments and facilities out there that's begging for it, and they're realizing that, you know, we can provide as good a training, if not better. I'm not going to say it's better, but we can provide as good a training locally, you know, and you don't have to travel. So the truth be known about it, folks just don't never get to experience things like FDIC because they just can't afford to leave or go, or the departments don't support it. So it's left up to guys like us to take it to them. And when we do, all we're doing is we're building the culture and spreading it and giving opportunity to take and have the things that we have going on with all of us.
Yeah. Just to make a quick correction, FDIC is not canceled. They just postponed to August.
Right.
So any of the brothers and sisters out there that are, you know, looking to go to FDIC, they moved it down to August, you know, because of the COVID issue and the unknown availability of the venue. So we're going to take full advantage of the opportunity that, you know, we wanted to be up there ourselves. So the fact that now we have an open month that we weren't expecting, let's go ahead and jump into that and create something for the local people to come to and ourselves to get out there and then get our fix and be around, you know, like I always say, like-minded brothers and sisters, and to improve ourselves just that 1% for that couple of days we're there and go back home with that booster shot of brotherhood that we all need every so often when you're part of this game.
Definitely a booster shot. Let me tell you something about what we did this past week. So we done something a little different than we've ever done it before. We actually took we had a class called What's Your Plan, and how it developed was we took and we noticed a first new issue and problem, and it's not always got to do with an age or the new guy or the millennials. I'm getting so sick of hearing about the excuse of millennials. It's bullshit, because I'm pretty sure, 100% sure, that whether you came in second generation or third generation or not, when you came into the fire service, you did not know everything about the fire service and what it had to offer and what you were responsible for. So when you take and say millennials, guess what? The millennials are the generation before or after. Guess what? They're growing up with damn telephones in their hand, and anything they want to know, all they got to do is go pop, 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 pop like that. And if you're allowing them to take that, you're failing them, I'm telling you, because they're wanting to know, they're hungry, they need to know, and they want to know. So take and teach them that. And so with that, we took this last class we did. We kind of threw something out there a little different. And most times we come to class and we tell everybody, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're looking for, and we're going to do this. So we didn't do that this time. This week we had 56 students with 16 instructors, and we said, guess what, fellas? When we walk out of the classroom, we need 4 groups to volunteer, and we're going to give you a building that's on fire with live victims. And guess what? What would you do? What's your plan? And what we did, we had some big name metro departments there, down to the volunteer departments. And guess what it did? It absolutely took and exposed everybody's vulnerability. And everybody realized at that point in time, when you cross that threshold, that it doesn't matter what the name is on the back of your coat. When you showed up to do the job. And guess what? We all struggled. We struggled at times. We got better all week long. And they all said, we can't believe y'all just set the building on fire and give it to us without any instruction. And the reason we done that was to be able to evaluate them. And when we have started evaluating them, it showed that the fact that, guess what? Nobody else that was there was any better than anybody else. And everybody seen that, and it took all the stigmatism out of it of, well, guess what? I'm with so-and-so, and we're with this big department, and it didn't matter whether it was engine, truck, or what. Guess what? We all struggled, and guess what? In the period of just about 16 hours, we all became better together. And this thing, you know, it's like we didn't have any label on the back of our coat. So when we did that, it was something. It was very, very, very taboo in the state of Georgia. But guess what? We done it, and the outcome and response we had from it, people have spent the last yesterday and today signing up for March. So, you know, it's pretty neat to see how you can. That's that art of manipulation. I'm telling you, fellas, that's all it is.
Hey, yeah, I like that, man. That's a good deal. So after doing your talking about your little Bears of the Oath that's coming up, the I kind of we've been pitching this thing between us on NRC to kind of give back to whatever it is, fools chapters, benevolence, symposiums, stuff like that. So we created this thing called Black Cloud Instructors Group, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get all the instructors to kind of sit own their companies, whatever. It's business as usual on your own side, but kind of a knights of a round table, so to speak, and we all sit down and we come up with something, and we kind of pick a fool's chapter or a symposium or an organization somewhere in the southeast down here, and we basically say, hey, what do you guys want to do? What do you want to learn? What do you want to teach? What do you like, one of our programs, whatever we have, and go with that, and kind of between all of us handpick whether, let's just say it was a fool's chapter, and we pick a fool's chapter, and then we call them up and we say, hey, you get us figure out the details, but basically you get us a building or a pretty decent training facility, and then we'll bring in the pertinent instructors. So if it's a search thing, then obviously we'll reach out to our fellas from Build Your Culture, Duffy and Pablo, and they can kind of run with it. If it's engine, if it's truck, if it's RIT, survival, whatever. But we want you guys to be a part of it. The Bears of the Oath. And I don't, it hasn't been in paper yet, but I'm kind of forcing Pablo and Duffy, Build Your Culture, to kind of be in it. And anybody in the Southeast that wants to be involved, you know what I mean? And it's going to be Action Over Ego conference. So, we want to see the action, forget the egos, and then we'll bring in whatever we have to bring in to kind of give back. You know what I mean? You do a lot of this stuff for money and, a little bit here and there, but sometimes you have the people that, family needs, whatever, they just can't get out the door to go see these. So I think we should bring it to them. And Rob was 100%. Herbie's been nothing but supportive. And we all been talking about it. So we're kind of putting it all together now. We don't have any bylaws or anything like that going on, but that's kind of the meat and potatoes, the baseline of what's going on. And I think the rest of it will just kind of build itself and fill its own gaps. You know what I mean? So that's your invite. What do you think? No pressure though. If you have to think about it, go for it.
Nah, we're in. You twisted arm, we're in.
All right. Fair enough.
It
don't take much to get us to join stuff.
Hey,
yeah, man. Well, I pitched it to Rob and Herbie, and before I could even finish my cool pitch, I had this all lined up and all that. Before I could do it, they were cutting me off saying they're in, and I'm like, oh, you got to hear my pitch. I've worked on this for like 2 hours. Thought I was going to have to arm wrestle you clowns, but they wouldn't even let me finish, so I didn't even get to use it. But I just saw Pablo said he's in, so that's good. But it'll be good, man. It'll be all positive, no egos. Bring the game, wear some guys out, have some good brotherhood, and that's it. Done. That simple.
That'd be fun. That'd be a lot of fun. It'd be good for the fire service, and that right there, and that there's a story behind that right there, and it's very heartfelt to me. The story that the shout out that Herb's giving right now to Redbird. That's the kid means a lot to me. He's good for all of us. He makes us all look exceptional. So I appreciate you taking and recognizing him right now, because he means a lot to us. I know he does to you guys as well, and he's something special.
Well, it's on for me, and I know I can speak for Greg and I can speak for Rob, man. It was truly an honor to have the two of you guys on, man, to sit here and talk shop with us. It's you and me, Shane, we've had numerous conversations. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of beers talked over and just figuring out how we can fix the fire service one person at a time. So I'm on behalf of myself, I want to say thank you guys for coming on tonight. It meant a lot to us.
Thank you guys. Thank you very much. I apologize about the technical difficulties. We about got it figured out towards the end, but thank you guys for having us.
No problem, man. We're looking forward to being up there in March. Greg is not going to be there. He's having some family issues, but he will be at the next one in April. So we all look forward to everyone coming out there and hanging out with us and getting some training on, man.
Yeah,
It's gonna be fun.
Real quick, how can they sign up to that event?
So you can go to bearsoftheoath.com. Right when the homepage comes up, it's a white page, and you can click on Learn More, and it will take you to all of the classes. Again, I've just seen the bottom of the page. We left one out. Jeremy Mathis with Fast Rescue Solutions. He will have a class himself this year. He's a member of Bears of the Oath. He's always supported us, been there to help us out. He will have his own class this year down at Barrow County on the 13th. Big Fast Rescue has been a very big supporter and sponsor of us. So thank you guys. Next Strong, man, we got it's we got to throw Gonzo out there and Miko, the Brotherhood. He's always supporting all of us. So
it's the best.
bearsoftheoath.com. Sign up for any of the classes. And I will throw this out there. If you want to come and you're having hardships on coming, reach out to us. We will get you here.
Sounds good. It's as always, man, it was a pleasure. We'll see you guys in March, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Hey,
Later, fellas. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Shane. Talk to you guys soon, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Yo.
That's good. That's good stuff, man. That Bears of the Oath. I like it. It's a good organization. Means a lot when you when you see their game kind of brought to you. You know what I mean? And working with Shane was awesome. You know, he took a beating, but I really like that live instructor on the RIT deal because you're getting Herbie. You were plugging to the students. Shane was plugging to the students of stuff you don't see when you're standing up behind them, but when you're being dragged as the instructor, the things you can plug and you can tell them from basically the underside of what's going on or being put out the window or everything that was going on. So I thought that was a home run. In your words, Rob, varsity
as fuck.
Well, so we had a bunch of sidebar conversations. Not to cut you off real quick, Rob, just to talk about the RIT. There was numerous students that came up to us and were saying, "Hey, I've never dragged a real live victim." And that was the one thing that we all talked about when we put the class together. Hey, listen, there is no dummies. We're live victims. So you're going to strip us. You're going to put the mask on us. You're doing everything. And guess what? Shit's a little different when you don't have a 180-pound dummy there. And people had to man up and realize, okay, this shit ain't for everyone. I got to figure this out. I got to dig deep now because this is real deal.
That was the thing that gets me too on that is a handful of times. I don't want to give all our secrets out, but a handful of times when they came in and they didn't have masks, nobody has ever masked up a dead weight down fireman or someone that's in a little bit of a panic mode with a mask with oven mitts on, as you say. They couldn't find the knob. So the first thing they're doing is they're talking about taking their gloves off. I'm just going to burn my hands. It's like, how effective are you going to be? So that's always an eye opener when we do this to me. That always is. And it just makes me realize too, guilty as charged, that when I check my air pack off, I need to take it out of the seat or at least put my gloves on at a minimum and mess with the knobs and the everything, the buttons, and get that dexterity through those mitts.
Absolutely. A lot of the training that we've done, and I'm not saying that, listen, I'm not going to sit here and pat ourselves on the back. We've been doing survival training for better part of a decade. And we learned from a lot of guys that are no longer in the business but every one of them brought something to the table. This wasn't just a one-person deal, and we're continuing to evolve based on the data, statistics, and trial and errors. Uh, Guys, a lot of the stuff that we do is so simple, but yet so relevant to firefighter rescue and survival. Um, something as simple as we never use mannequins. Never, ever, ever use mannequins. I can't tell you how many times we've been teaching at a venue, and the host will be like, "Hey, my training division get you 4 mannequins tomorrow. Don't need them, brother. Thank you." Mannequins create training scars in the arena of firefighter rescue and survival. They prevent us from understanding what it feels like to bring a down fireman out, to derobe a down fireman, to carry dead weight, to understand the numbers and staffing. We sit around, we talk about the numbers. We need 15 for every one, and out of those, you're gonna every 5 of those guys, out of those 5, one is gonna become a Mayday themselves. And we talk about these numbers and throw them around across the kitchen table like they're no big deal until you're fully encapsulated with oven mitts, with heat on your neck, even in a scenario based environment where you're at a conference or at the firehouse drilling, and you're trying to drag a down fireman out, not a mannequin. And then you realize where you're at, and then you build from there. We continuously expect to find success from a position of failure, and mannequins are a position of failure in and that's just a small part of our ideology at NRC when it comes to firefighter rescue and survival. And we do a lot of things like that, and I'm very proud of the standard that we maintain when we teach. I'm not because I want to pat ourselves in the back, like I said when I started talking, but because I believe that we're serving the greater good, and the people that do end up being exposed to that type of training, hopefully they go back home and get the reps in. And if God forbid 2 months on the road or 2 years on the road, they have to implement one of those tactics that it ends up in a positive outcome, and we had a small little bit to do with it. And that's my goal personally every time we teach the survival class. Just real quick, guys, before you guys jump in, the fire service is real healthy today. If you guys do not follow data, you guys understand that I like to mix practical, keep it simple, stupid under stress techniques with a lot of data and statistics. If you guys don't follow firefighter rescue surveys, Project Mayday, NIOSH reports, close calls, and the list goes on and on and on, you need to start reading the data out there. There are very few sole source data capturing agencies for the fire service that should be driving your training and how you prepare. But for the first 23 days of 2021, we're averaging about 10 rescues a day nationwide. Okay. According to Firefighter Rescue, we've had about 180 civilian we've had about 180 civilian deaths the first 23 days of 2021 at fires. We've rescued about 230 civilians nationwide the first 23 days of 2021. The fire service is doing a very good job. We're making fires every single day. We're getting about 10 grabs a day. Okay, keep building on that. Keep practicing. Understand that this is just the first 23 days of the year. That number is going to augment incredibly throughout the rest of the year. These things are happening. It may not be happening at your fire department. It may be happening next door. It may be happening when you get off. This morning when I got off at 8 in the morning, at 8:30 they got a job, and I got nothing but pictures for it. Okay, but it's happening. It just may not be happening to you. Don't understand that it doesn't matter. You don't get reps just because you go to fires. You get reps because you perform realistic training, and your brain does not understand the difference whether you're at a fire or you're at a realistic training event. You're going to build the same rep. You're going to build the same avenue to create that resource you're going to need when the time comes. No different than throwing a ladder 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys jump in. I appreciate the time. I had a blast with the 2 guests. I look forward to working with them in March. We have all types of classes coming up at NRC. Make sure you check our website out. We're busy. Tomorrow morning, I'm in a new class. Next month, we're in another class, and the list goes on and on. We're looking to get out there and work with you guys and be around like-minded brothers and sisters, and remain approachable and teachable and coachable. So thank you for your time, guys.
100%. Real quick, Greg and I were in Columbia, South Carolina last week. Myself, Greg, Timmy Gleason, Richard Shirk, and we were doing a structural collapse ops class. We left on a Friday. Friday morning, they got a text message from a student that was in the class that had to go and do shoring into the building of a fire that was there. So they had to go in, get a dead body out of the building. They had to shore their way into it. And he wrote this big, long thank you about how him and his crew we're so thankful about the training that they learned. So that was cool to see guys come back and be like, hey, man, listen, that shit that you guys taught us isn't just smoke and mirrors. It's the real deal. So that just goes back and tells us that we're doing the right thing.
You know what's crazy about that too, Herbie, to add? I didn't see the letter, but you kind of hit me up with that, or I didn't hear the write-up. We were sitting there talking about it, and a couple of their influential captains and one of their battalion chiefs were there, and they were like, we really need to do that, because I was talking about that as far as after a fire, you need to get a tech rescue call. If you go in there and shore up anything, you can get yourself a tech rescue call out of that on addition to a fire. And they're like, oh man, I never thought of that. Started looking. So I'd like to see if that battalion chief or a couple of those captains had anything to do with that. But that's it right there. And realistically, the bottom line is not getting a TR number or not getting, a fire call or all that. The realistic deal is going in and getting the remains so somebody can have basically closure or whatever, or investigate, whatever the case may be, but so they can have that. And that was key to me.
Yeah, that's huge. So like Rob said before we wrap it up, Rob will be in Palm Beach Shores starting tomorrow doing VMR Tech, and we got aerial apparatus going on at Indian River. The following week, Greg will be in Cape Coral, correct, doing structural collapse ops, and then we got man versus machine that week as well. The first time that NRC is offering the man versus machine program in South Florida. So it's a busy couple of weeks. We also got the Bears of the Oath class coming up as well. And then stay tuned. We're going to be hosting that big 5-day event as well. So there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. We look forward to seeing all you guys there. You guys got anything for them?
That's all I got. Thank you for your time. I look forward to working with you guys in the future.
As always, quick shout out to the sponsors, Breachpoint USAR, Miko Fire. Cannot say enough great things about Miko Fire, man. They support us with everything we do. The Can Man Fire Show, First Do Screen Printing. They give you all of the NRC swag that we have, the shirt that Rob has on, the shirt that I have on. If you guys taken our classes, you guys have had a First Do Screen Printing shirt. The Bearers of the Oath and Nozzleman Leather. You need any custom chin straps, radio harnesses, anything, check out Nozzleman Leather. Best quality in the game. Promise you, hands down.
Easy.
That being said, we appreciate you guys. We promise you that we're not going to be a month out. We were just so busy last time. So we promise you we'll be back in another week and a half to give you guys another podcast with a special guest. Stay tuned. And with that being said, we appreciate you guys.
All right, boys. Take care.